afternoon, and thank you for joining us for our Q4 Specialty Solutions Biz Apps UCC vlog. My name is Paul Barnas, Category Acceleration Executive for Ingram Micro and the Microsoft Teams rooms. And today we are joined by Matthew Jordan from EPOS. And Matthew, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
Last time we focused on the solutions you guys offer around the hybrid work space. This time, we're interested in the services side of things. And from your aspect, how important are vendor support and installation services for your solutions?
Extremely. Our stuff, I'd say, is pretty plug and play, but we've got a few things running through Ingram today that make it even easier to get your video products plugged in and going.
Great. So what would you say would be the most beneficial to leverage around your product?
Yeah, so the buy and try program that we have today, it's a service that you can add on with any of our video product. With that, you'll get access to a team that will evaluate the room that you're installing your solution into to make sure it's an appropriate fit. From there, they're there to stay with you for the first few months to make sure that implementation's going well. They'll stay plugged in with you to keep you up to date on anything new happening with Microsoft to keep that Teams room as up to date as possible.
Great. And I do see we also have Justine Watson here with us from Poly. Justine, I'm going to turn the same question over to you.
Hey, Paul. Always glad to be part of the Ingram vlog series. Happy to be back. So I just wanted to do a quick little plug for my new Voyager Surround 80 headphones. They're brand new. They are just starting to ship in the next few weeks. So they're immersive, they're boomless, and they're Microsoft Teams Open Office certified. So that's my little plug on these. But when it comes to services, services are part of the solution. It shouldn't even be a question of if you want it. It should automatically be part of the quoted and configured solution. When it comes to video conferencing, making sure that you've got the proper upgrades and updates for the products, and you've got implementation, installation, even if it's remote, it's highly encouraged just because it makes for a much smoother installation, and it makes it so that the solution can be adopted better. What's really nice about Poly and Ingram, Poly has Poly branded solutions, but what we did quite a few years ago is that Ingram invested in doing their own brand of Poly service. So what happens for maintenance services that are purchased under Ingram's UCC Pro support, Ingram takes first call. So it's a way for Ingram to be more involved in the service side of our solutions. And also it's a great way to actually undercut the price of the Poly solution or the comparable Poly maintenance. So extremely important. And even at one point, we made maintenance services for video endpoints mandatory. That's how important we thought they were. So now that they're not mandatory, we highly encourage them regardless.
Yeah, through Ingram Micro, with all of our services between that we sell with EPOS and Poly, implementation and adoption services seem to be the most important when we're talking video conferencing, and especially around the hybrid work solutions. Question to Matt, specifically around your Capture 5 service or the Capture 5 speaker itself. That is something that needs to be implemented correctly. Is that correct, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a fantastic device that will help you if you need to go in and see your transcripts from all your meetings. If you have it configured correctly in your room, it'll identify up to 10 unique speakers, which I know if you're going back, a lot of times if you just have a whole bunch of sentences in a row, it's not going to make too much sense. But if you can tell who all those unique contributors were, it makes for a pretty clean flow. So if you don't set it up right, then you're wasting your time there.
Absolutely. We've had experience with that where customers are like, we buy the speaker and then they're not sure what's going on, why it's not transcribing. Well, it's because it needs to be actually set up properly. So that's where they can leverage some of our services here at Ingram Micro that we've worked together with both of you guys to make sure that those things are implemented properly. So Justine, another question back to you. What do you think is the most important service that they should be leveraging through Ingram Micro?
Well, to reiterate, the try and buy program is key because when you take a look at the different markets in video conferencing, you've got AV integrators that are working with a lot of the bigger installations, and they can usually service the product a little bit more fluidly just because they've been doing it for a long time. But we're trying to get more people into the video conferencing space, and that really pertains to the small and medium-sized businesses that may not have a practice there. So using the Buy and Try program and leveraging the services, whether it be configuration services with SDNS or services via the Try and Buy program, or any of the professional services, it really helps with new partners and folks that are new into the video conferencing solution to make sure their solution selling correctly.
Yeah, that is definitely a great response, and that is the truth, and that's really the key or the secret ingredient behind the Buy to Try program is the fact that we provide the free support services when someone takes advantage of that program, because making sure that that piece of equipment is implemented properly is going to make sure that that device is used properly and make sure that it sticks on the end user level, that they're not going to return it. I really appreciate you guys' time today. I think we're just about up at time. I want to thank both of you for joining us today, and we'll look forward to future vlogs with you guys.
Crestron has been partnering with Microsoft to bring some bring your own device capabilities to Microsoft Teams. Now, traditionally, when it came to Microsoft Teams in the conference room, there was a full collaboration device that would be needed, a full Microsoft MTR, which of course Crestron's one of the leaders in. But with the proliferation of bring your own device, Microsoft is adopting that as part of their strategy. So Crestron and Microsoft have been co-developing some new software that will run on the AirMedia that delivers that continuum of experiences. So where I have one user interface for Microsoft Teams rooms in some rooms, in other rooms where I have a bring your own device workflow, you'll get the consistent UI. So you can see behind me the Microsoft UI that brings in the calendar for that room. I can see the name and the time. I also see the ability to share content. And so the idea is that for all of those organizations that need some rooms with a dedicated Teams room and some rooms where you need to bring your own device workflow, that we now have that full continuum of experiences.